We now recognize the gentleman from Florida, the Chairman of the Transportation Committee, Mr. Mica, for 5 minutes.
Thank you. When I had the responsibility for putting together the transportation security system for the United States after the 9/11 attacks, of course, I looked for different models. British probably were the best in advising us because they're the only country that had a countrywide system for screening, and also they had been plagued by terrorist attack domestically for years. Additionally, I contacted various federal agencies, and I talked to those who run the federal maximum security prisons and other state organizations who also dealt with probably the most invasive types of screening of both prisoners and people who visited them. And I was told by them that even with body cavity searches, which I don't even want to describe here, with screening with electronic equipment, that both drugs, contraband, weapons all penetrated the system. Been a strong advocate of using whatever means we can put in place that would provide us security, but and I do believe in a layered system. But we have launched several efforts, very expensive. When the Chechen women bombers destroyed aircraft, we were seeking a quick solution. We knew we didn't have deployed at the airports the equipment, and I was told the puffer would be the answer. I went to New Jersey and they tested the puffer. Went through the puffer at least 3 times with some material that should have set it off. None of the 3 times did it set it off, but I was assured it was just a technical problem and that they would be used. They started, as you know, an expensive deployment. I was not advised when they were deploying the backscatter and the millimeter wave, although I did encourage them to look at millimeter wave, I must say, and have been supportive of using advanced technology. But I think the important thing is testing. Now, I was told the puffers would work and they didn't work. God only knows where they're sitting, and I asked the committee staff to look at that fiasco. Now we're buying $500 million worth of equipment. I've had that equipment tested. The results are classified, and I asked the members to review that. I can tell you the equipment is badly flawed. It can be subverted. Our staff went out, and our staff subverted the equipment. They informed me in a very simple manner. Mr. Pistol said, well, it may require more training or something, and GAO is clever. Well, what the hell does he think terrorists are? Terrorists have gone from a very sophisticated shoe device, and I visited Orly, interviewed people, saw what took place. I was awakened in Texas the morning of the liquid bombers, and we put in measures to try to deal with that. The diaper, I had in January tested the system for the pat-down, which is supposed to catch what this equipment doesn't catch or be another device. I can tell you, I can thwart the system not only visually, but and not that cleverly, but most folks know that they're not going to touch your junk, and more than enough dangerous material can get through because that system is flawed too. I'm very concerned again about the testing of this equipment before it was deployed. And it looks like we've got a bigger puffer fiasco on our hands in buying this. If it wasn't just the $500 million, it's going to be another $500 million because TSA couldn't possibly use existing personnel or transfer some of the positions, the 3,770 bureaucratic positions in Washington to get their butts out working online. Of course, they're making $105,000 on average a year, and Mr. Pistol told me yesterday in testimony when I went before the Appropriations Committee that they start the average screener at $28,000 a year. Something seems out of kilter, but we've also seen them move from diapers now to cargo, so I think they're slightly bypassing these machines. Would you say if they're planning to blow up planes over the sky with electronic remote devices, would you say that that would be effective deterrent with these machines? I see all negative, let the record reflect all negative head shakes there. Finally, with surgical implants, I leave this question with you. We know that now the folks that gave us some of these devices and attempts are moving to body cavity inserts, which we saw in Saudi Arabia, and surgical implants. Does this equipment, can you tell me, will that detect that kind of a threat? I see Mr. Cate and Mr. Brenner. Doctor, can you need to verbalize this for the record.
No, it cannot.
Mr. Brenner?
I would confirm that no, it cannot, can't penetrate.
Mr. Rautenberg?
No, it would not.
Mr. Baker, you care to?
I agree.
Thank you. Yield back.
Gentleman's time has expired.